Hello friends, this is Carrie and welcome back to I Like Reddit channel. I hope you all are staying safe and healthy. Friends, today we have two stories out of the Entitled Parents subreddit. Let's begin. Our first story is a long one and it is by Thesaurus222. Mom of athlete sues school because we require a letter from a big pharmacy doctor to clear injured players for return. I'm a youth sports coach, and whatever stories you've heard about insane parents, it can be even worse than that. I'm in a league where parents are already planning out their kids' target colleges before they can even walk. But most of the kids are completely average, because that's what average means. Because other schools have the luxury of players who want to participate. I have kids who are pressured into the game by their parents, so they don't bring the same heart to the field. It makes it quite difficult to read them. For example, I only just got free from a dispute that's been ongoing for over 3 months. A sweet but clumsy sophomore who has fun with his teammates but is overall completely indifferent to the sport was out indefinitely with a serious rotator cuff injury. He'd had surgery, he was still sitting in on practice at his parents' insistence, but by no means was he taking a step in the direction of the field. He never complained or protested, like many of my diehards who would be here to their own detriment. He was just happy to sit and play video games. Great. The best player you can hope for is one who doesn't rush recovery. I was proud and relieved at how he was handling things. So one day, not even 3 weeks after his surgery, his mom shows up and says, "All right, my son is cleared to play. He can start back today. Maybe someone should take some time to work with him one-on-one to get him caught up." I was surprised, but I'm not a doctor, so if he's cleared, he's cleared. But as protocol, I asked for an official letter from a medical office approving of him returning to practice for the team's file. His mom was flabbergasted. "I don't have that with me. Who carries that around?" It hadn't even occurred to me that she might be doing something so brazen and reckless as to what she was. So without skipping a beat, I cheerfully said, "No worries. He can hang out with us while you run home and fax or email it to me." She stuttered for a second and finally came up with, "I don't have the time to go all the way home. I have another appointment." It was then that I noticed that her son looked kind of uncomfortable throughout all of this. And while he isn't one of our most enthusiastic guys, I would have still expected him to be more psyched out to return to practice after sitting patiently on the sidelines for such a long time. So, while I might have agreed to wait until the next day to see a letter in any other case, knowing the player would start back by easing very slowly regardless, I knew this time I had to see written proof before so much as giving this kid a light stretch routine. I told the mom, "So I'll just give the doctor's office a call and they can send the letter to us. It's still early, we can catch them if we call right now." I stood there expectantly waiting for her to call. She gasped and stuttered some more before finally blurting out, "He isn't being treated by a Western big pharma doctor. He's on essential oils regimen." I didn't know whether to laugh or to start shouting. It was so ridiculous that she was even positing treating an internal injury with essential oils. But even more infuriating is that she would actually risk her son's health just to get him back to practice a few weeks early. I couldn't tell straight away if she genuinely thought the oils had healed his shoulder, which still visibly appeared to be causing him pain, or if she was just saying that to try and get out of producing a letter that she didn't have because he was seeing a doctor who had not cleared him yet. I was stuck at this point and called another coach over to confer privately after giving her the rundown of the situation, and she suggested a foolproof plan. I returned to the boy's mother and said, "So, I talked with some of the other members of the staff and I have great news. The team physician can do a routine post-op right now and write a letter." Thankfully, she didn't call my bluff because while we do have a team physician, you still have to make an appointment with him a week or more in advance. So his mother says that she's uncomfortable with him seeing a strange doctor. I reiterate that this is our team physician who has assisted her son whenever he's been injured on the field, not a stranger to him. She pivots back to not trusting Western medicine and wanting to maintain the essential oils plan. She starts going off about how all these scans are going to give him radiation poisoning, etc. So I told her I couldn't help her and sent her on her way. Her son was mouthing "Sorry, coach," to me as she gave her speech, and I knew then that I had done the right thing. You could see in his eyes that he did not have anything to do with this scheme to rush him back onto the field. She stormed off, absolutely irate, cursing at me and even some of the players from her son's team who had passed her on the way out, and continued making a scene in the front until someone from the marching band practice asked her to leave because they couldn't hear all the instruments with the way she was carrying on. Not even 24 hours later, the principal and the head of athletics each had letters from a law firm accusing us of discriminating against her son, preventing him from playing because of the family's belief in alternative medicine. To be abundantly clear, a shoulder injury is very serious, especially at her son's age. If he didn't do the proper steps for recovery, he could be stuck with lifelong pain and never able to play sports again, but never being able to lift or hold basic positions without mind-bending pain. Not to mention the potential for permanent mobility problems were he to re-injure himself by playing contact sports while hurt. So in short, this is a matter of a way for more jostling of the authorities with the parent over personal views about healthcare. It was an issue of my players' physical safety and a hill that I was more than willing to die on. I was prepared to go out of my own pocket for a lawyer and say all of that in court if need be. I was in no position to do so financially, but I didn't care. Like I said, I would die on this hill. The principal showed the letter to his lawyer wife, who suggested that we ignore it and see if the kid's mother would tire of investing time and money into the situation. I know what you're thinking, and you're exactly right. She was not going to back down. She was back with a lawyer in person at practice the following week. He tried to tell me something about how, as a team at a public school, that I should not prevent her son from participating because of his family's personal beliefs. Every child has a right to do public school activities. Well, I couldn't be any further from a lawyer, but that was still easy even for me. Guy, this is a tryout team. No one is guaranteed participation, and I can cut any player for any reason I see fit. That stymied him, and I think he told the boy's mother that she was out of options. But I guess she kept sending him checks because he kept writing us letters. Out of an abundance of caution, since you never know how far a crazy person is willing to take something, or how much money she has to pursue this issue, I had to consult with an attorney of my own. I gave her all the documents to review, and once she finished laughing uncontrollably, she told me not to think twice about this, and to only come back if I'm served with actual papers to appear in court. 6 weeks later, I was back in her office. The boy's mother was bringing the school into a civil suit, and I had been called to testify. I met with a lawyer, and luckily, she was so honest. She told me the district would probably have counsel for me and to wait before cutting any checks. And she was right. So I was in a big, harried meeting preparing for this case. All of the team boosters were there, top administrators that I had only ever heard their names but had never seen in person, and even more people still who I've already forgotten because these meetings were such a stressful blur. It was getting very serious very quickly. More than once, I was pulled aside by someone with more important places to be and asked if I could just clear the kid to play. By the time things began to wrap up, I was making good and frequent use of Randy Jackson's meme, "Yeah, that's gonna be a no from me, dog." We were about a week and a half out from the first official court date, and in serious discussions with the school's council about actually just buying these people off the team and settling out of court if they agreed to walk away from the sports and drop the issue. No one wanted to hear me explain all the reasons why this would never work. I was just leaving a smaller one of these guys' strategy meetings when I saw the kid loitering outside my office. I knew I wasn't supposed to speak to any of them, but the kid had actually been really cool throughout the whole ordeal. He definitely wished he wasn't associated with any of his mom's wild antics. So I cautiously approached. Before I could even say anything, the kid drags his dad out from around the corner. His dad seemed concerned that his wife might drop out of the ceiling grate or something, but his son was determined and prodding him, going, "Do it, let's go." His dad kept his head on constant swivel and quietly said, "I understand you could have my son cleared by the team's physician?" I nodded, and the dad hesitated, but his son was clearly fed up with this and staring daggers at mangoes. "Okay, then, let's get going. Sign what you need to sign for me so that we can see who I need to see." The poor hen-pecked guy kept saying, quietly enough so that his son couldn't hear. Listen, if my wife ever found out about this, holy hell. Can you please just not make a big scene about it? Just say he was cleared to play. No need to advise how it happened, okay? I assured him that not only would I never advise a student's private business for social clout, but when it came to medical issues, I was legally prohibited from sharing information with anyone. So I sent one of the only messages flagged urgent that I have ever had sent directly to our team's doctor, and by the end of the day, our highly relieved strategy team was able to place a call informing the mother of the son that he was cleared to return to practice. Now don't get it twisted, I didn't ram his recovery papers through a back channel to end the suit or alleviate pressure from the administration. His mother had dragged the whole ordeal out for so long that he had actually fully healed. Our doctor was able to pass him with flying colors. She still isn't the worst parents I've ever had to deal with, hostility-wise, but certainly the most serious matter. Other people get into it over playing time or game schedules or even the kid's uniform number. This is still the only one I can remember being this negligent with her son's physical well-being, so it will always rank highest as the worst parent experience. It was just finally confirmed that I am 100% free of all this legal brouhaha, so I can gleefully share the story. With strangers, at least. I don't want to put the kid on blast in our tiny community, but I do want to vent to a whole bunch of people. So everybody, play it safe out there, and thanks for reading so far. If you're enjoying the content so far, please put a heart emoji in the comment section down below. Our last story is posted by Morgan1129. Ex's girlfriend expects me to take her kids for a weekend. So some background information that is relevant. My ex is not actually my ex. We've been separated for 9 years now, but we've never actually signed papers for numerous reasons. Financial being the biggest one. We've co-parented our son for those years, and for the past 8, we've included my boyfriend in the process. We've been doing quite well at this, and the 3 of us have established a pretty good relationship. 2 years ago, however, my ex got a new girlfriend. She and I don't get along, mainly on her part, and no, I'm not just saying that because it's my side. I've encouraged my son to respect her and to try and get along with her, but he can't stand her or her 2 daughters. I don't mind her youngest. She's hyper and bounces off the walls, but she's 8 and it's to be expected. The oldest one, 11, same age as my son, however, well, she's kind of a witch. She actively ridicules and belittles her little sister, my son, and my daughter, 6. She's rude to me, my ex-in-laws, and even my ex. This girl is absolutely out of control. Background out of the way, last weekend was my son's weekend with his father. However, my ex and his girlfriend had been invited to an adult party. My ex and I were discussing it when he dropped off my son on Wednesday, and he mentioned that it might be easier if we switched weekends around. But he wasn't sure if he could find a babysitter for the 2 girls, so we'd wait and see. I was fine with that and told him to just keep me informed. Later that night, his girlfriend sent me a message saying that since I was taking my son for the weekend, number 1, I could just take the 2 girls and keep them for the weekend too. Before I could even respond to this, she added that she would send them over clothes and some money so that we could get pizza. I told her I wouldn't be taking the girls and that I wasn't taking my son for the weekend. He lives with me, and his father and I are just switching weekends around, and I certainly wasn't taking her children for the weekend. She sent a message back saying that it was very rude of me not to take her girls, since she took my son every other weekend. Before I could respond, again, she sent another message saying that she will send $15 for pizza. I told her she didn't take my son on the weekends, that my son spent the weekend with his father, and reiterated again that I would not be taking her girls. She responded by asking what I was doing that I couldn't take her girls. I told her we weren't doing anything. We were going to have a nice relaxing weekend, and she asked why I would ruin her and my ex's weekend by not taking her girls. By this point, I was annoyed. I told her that I didn't like her oldest daughter and that she was a brat. She wasn't allowed in my house outside of emergency situations. She responded by saying I was an awful person, a terrible mother, and I didn't deserve children since I clearly didn't understand parents who just need a break. I ended up blocking her, but like, dang. Edit. Wow. Firstly, thanks to all of you for the awards. I'm just griping about my ex's girlfriend, and I didn't expect all of this. Secondly, while I tried to respond to a lot of you, here's some very general points. 1. I don't know where the girl's bio dad is. Ex-girlfriend is from the West Coast and we live on the East Coast, and I never felt it was my place to ask. 2. She doesn't end up raising my son on the weekends. My ex knows my son isn't a fan, so typically they go fishing, camping, or hiking. My ex loves our son and spends as much time with him as possible. 3. No, I didn't call her 11-year-old a witch to her face or to her mother's face. I told her mother that she was a brat, yes, and if that makes me a terrible person, well, so be it. 4. I screenshotted pictures of the conversation and I plan on talking to my ex when he picks up our son on Wednesday. I currently haven't heard from either of them, so I guess we'll see if she tries to drop them off tonight at 6. Edit 2. So I just got off the phone with my ex, who called to ask if I had agreed to take the kids since last he knew that wasn't happening. I sent him screenshots of the conversation and explained that I never agreed to take the girls either, and told him that I was quite clear with her about that. He apologized and said that he would handle it and that I'd see him on Wednesday when he came to pick up our son. That's all the stories I have for today. Links to the original Reddit post will be in the description box below. Please stop on by Reddit to show the OP some love and an upvote. If you enjoy my videos, please comment, like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell notification to let you know when I upload new videos. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.